All right, let's get to our busy telephones here. Now, this is a fascinating call. John is in Iowa. John, how are you? You flew drones over Benghazi?
Yes, I did, Sean.
Well, I thought that these were unmanned.
They are unmanned in the essence that they are controlled from a remote location. So
you're the pilot from a remote location.
We have a pilot and we have a sensor operator. The pilot actually flies the RPA, which is the remote piloted aircraft, and the sensor operator controls the camera equipment on the Predator. So I myself control the cameras.
By the way, how long have you been doing this? What a cool job.
I've been involved in this for approximately 10 years now.
You know, I watched when I was in Iraq. I watched a couple of these drones take off. I mean, it's just fascinating to watch it. It really is.
It's a very fun and exciting job.
Now, you were apparently, I guess, operating one of the drones. You're telling my call screener that you were operating one of the drones that was over Benghazi on the night of September 11th, 2012?
Yes, indeed, Sean.
What did we see? And have you spoken to any of these congressional investigators?
No, haven't spoken to anybody. Have not been asked to speak to anybody.
And do you work for the Pentagon?
No, work for the military. One of the branches of the services. Would like to try to keep that.
I appreciate that. So you were operating this drone that was flying over Benghazi the night of this attack on our embassy.
Yes. And the video footage that we got when we initially got on station, and we were told to go down to the consulate. It was already under attack, and it was already on fire. And we were asked then to go to the annex and try to just watch and make sure that the individuals that were in the annex, were not going to be coming, under attack there either.
So, okay, the CIA annex, which was, I guess, about a couple of miles away. So, how good is the imaging that you're able to see? I mean, from that drone.
You can definitely discern if any individuals are carrying weapons. I mean, you're able to pull out if they're carrying any type of rifle or an RPG. When you start getting into smaller caliber weapons, you won't really know unless they were to fire them, and then you could see the muzzle flash in the infrared camera.
So you basically are pretty much an expert at viewing this video. What do you tape everything that you're seeing, that you're witnessing?
Yes, everything's recorded, and so my initial thought and question was, did anybody in the media, but specifically the senators and Congress and all the legislation, why they did not request to get that video footage, at least under a Freedom of Information Act?
Well, I'm going to now. What do you do with the video when you're finished with a mission?
If nothing significant happened during the mission, after a certain amount of time, it ends up being destroyed or just rewritten over. Because you got to take in consideration that we are flying 22 hours a day, constantly, 7 days a week. So, but if anything were to happen, this video footage is being disseminated to multiple locations and agencies around the globe. So surely once individuals saw that there was a grave problem on a U.S. embassy consulate, phone calls I would think should have been made, and started going up the chain, and eventually you would think it would have hit the State Department. So if it did not, then individuals were remiss in their duties.
All right, let me ask you this. When you're viewing this and you know that our embassy is under attack, are you also simultaneously sending messages to different areas within our government to let them know, alert them that they need to turn on their cameras and see what's going on here?
Yes, we can contact individuals by phone, but most of our communication is done by secure chat lines. And so we are contacting individuals real time. And, again, we had a supported unit that we were working for, in that region that told us to go there. It was known prior to us even, taking off, from the location that we took off from, which I can't name, that, hey, you're going to be going to the consulate, because there are reports of, something might go down or is going down. So it was already known, in my eyes, in my mind, hours before.
How vivid is this memory in your mind? It's 8 months later. Do you remember with specificity what you saw?
So again, as soon as we got there, we were given the coordinates on where to go. So we got on the station. Immediately, I threw the camera onto the consulate. It was a little bit hard to, pick out the building, if you will. Specifically the shape, but that's because we were in the infrared, camera. So the fire on an IR camera, will just bloom and almost wash a majority of, items out. But there were dozens, if not hundreds of people, surrounding the consulate. There were cars, continually driving by and stopping. And it was at that time we were only over the consulate for maybe about 5 minutes when we were told to then go watch the CIA annex. And, our guys that were inside of there were on the rooftops, and they were looking in the direction of the consulate. And we were told just watch the entries and exits to the annex and make sure nobody's trying to break in and get them there. But we wouldn't have been able to do much anyways due to the status of forces agreement that we have with with other host countries on where we're located. We were not allowed to be armed that night.
That's unbelievable to me. Now, but you basically saw the attack that was unfolding. Did you go back and look at, after you were checking out the annex, and I understand at some point there was even a fear that the annex was going to be attacked, but did you go back to the embassy portion to see the second wave of the attack?
Not to my recollection. Again, obviously it's several months later. I stayed in the, I was in the seat, if you will, controlling, during, as soon as we got on station, and for approximately an hour and a half afterwards. And then at that time, another individual came and relieved me.
Do you know for sure in this particular case if these tapes have been saved? I know a lot of this is on the record because I've heard some of this about the drone, and I've also heard that at some point the drone needed to land. I don't know if that was after you got off duty or not, but apparently I'm not sure why that it needed to land, but it did need to land for some reason. Maybe it'd been up in the air too many hours.
Well, I mean, at that point, once I got relieved, it would have only have been up for maybe about the quarter of the time that it could have. If it did have to land, it would have been due to a some type of an emergency, or maybe there's an issue with the aircraft. But as far as having the footage, I would not know if there's any recordings of it still out there, and that's what I think needs to be asked.
Why hasn't anybody in Congress? Now they're having the hearings this week. I'm just a little surprised that you're telling me all this and that nobody in Congress has contacted you. I would think that you'd be one of the main people they'd want to talk to.
I would think so too. There would be only about 6 of us, from the base, out of which that I operate at, that would have been involved on that specific mission that night, and so it should be real easy to track this down. But then again, if they just did not care, which is the way that they are trying to make it seem, especially with Secretary of State Clinton's comment of what difference does it make, and trying to potentially cover things up, then they probably didn't even worry about who was on the flight log, for that night.
Well, based on what your job is and what you saw that night, and then based on what followed afterwards, did you know immediately that the American people were pretty much being lied to and that a cover-up had ensued?
Oh yeah, immediately. As soon as they started making the public reports, especially Susan Rice, I knew immediately that this is not the exact story, but we are bound by it's obviously certain documents such as non-disclosure agreements, on what we can and can't say, and my thought was that I'm a small pawn in this chess game. And that the truth will come out, and then it just unfolds and unfolds and unfolds, and it never stops.
It's true. I mean, anybody that's ever lied in their life, first of all, to lie, you need a really good memory. I mean,
yes,
the fact that these talking points in all of their different renditions now have come out just shows how full of it they were. And then the reason why is obvious, that this was the lead up to an important election in their minds, and their
right.
narrative was that terrorism had ended, and they wanted to cover the whole thing up. And, and then we learned the story. I interviewed Ty Woods' father, and I interviewed Sean Smith's mom, and you hear the story of these parents that, 8 months later, they still don't know what happened. All they know is that the government doesn't care enough to be decent enough to tell them the truth.
Right. And it is, after doing it for so long, parts of what you see and what you do ends up becoming, almost routine. But it is sickening, to my heart every time that, an American or a coalition partner, loses their life or gets injured. And, I guess now, kind of part of me says, maybe I should have spoke up sooner, but, you want to have faith and trust, in your government, and hope that they would, come out with the truth and, get to the bottom of it. But apparently that's not what they wanted to do. And as you just noted that, the election was coming up, and, then you have Hillary Clinton that's potentially wants to run for 2016, and God help us.
Is there any chance you're risking getting in trouble for talking to me?
There should be little to minimal risk. Reason being, I have on an unclassified report that I was that I was there for the initial Benghazi attack, and then I monitored the U.S. agents. So the majority of everything that I just spoke to you about
is on the record. Yeah.
Good to go. I'm sure there are some, that would probably try to take this and twist it and come down on me. But, most, again, everything that I just spoke on is known, has been known, but it's coming from the horse's mouth, so to speak, for me on this is actually, what went down. Don't try to twist it. I just can't speak on, obviously, the agencies that I had worked for, and
right.
In our locations on where we take off from.
Let me ask you this question without divulging anything. Is there anything more to this that that if you told the American people, you think they'd be shocked about?
Nothing that I would be aware of. My only comment would be that the video footage would at least clear up and to help discern that if this was a protest, then this would have been the protest of all ages. I mean, it was unbelievable. There was too much activity going down, and just to seeing the guys, our guys on rooftops looking on. I mean, you would think that they would have been able to, keep things calm.
Can I put you on hold here for a second? I really appreciate you calling in, John, and obviously this is what you do. If you're working with these drones, that's amazing work, and we thank you for all you do. But